And we should be live. What's going on, Super Comic Book fam? We got our boy Luigi in the house. What's going on, Stokes?
I'm getting tired of this bit, but I'm chilling, bro. Like, what's up with you?
That bit's never stopping, dude. It's going on forever.
I came up with the bit too. Like all the good ideas on the show, I came up with it, but now I'm regretting it.
Wow. I mean, you know what? If it was your idea to be Luigi also, because the real Mario would never just be Luigi. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Jason, how you doing, man? First time on the show.
I am good. I came into this right hot off work, so I'm fine.
Perfect way to unwind. And then we have the man himself, Mr. Six Figs.
Hello.
How you doing, buddy?
Hi.
Yo, what was that? Yo, what was that? Nah, stop. Yo.
Hi, Chris.
You did not do that again, bro.
So, all three of you guys have a campaign live. Mine just ended. You know, everybody who's watching or will watch is already backed and will be getting their Control Z books soon. But you three have campaigns. So let's take a quick look before we get into exactly how we're going to improve and boost everybody to that next level, right?
Yes.
All right, so first we got Mr. Stokes. Tell us about Intrusive Thoughts.
I need the most help on this panel too. Yeah. Intrusive Thoughts is gas. Check it out.
Damn.
That's all I need, bro.
That's all you need, dude. I mean,
was the campaign gone?
I don't know. It's like not loading.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, there we go. Here we go. The campaign was just not. It was not it. It was
They just
dipping.
so damn nice they won't load up.
I mean, that's the best way to improve your Kickstarter is make it disappear. Yeah, no, these pages are looking dope, dude. I'm excited. I'm excited for more. You're definitely. I mean, you're tracking towards this being your best campaign yet, right? Is this the
For sure. People? For sure. 233, 50, 80 is that was my best campaign. And also what I feel good about, because I was like, my first campaign, I'm thinking about sustainability. Like my first campaign, it was like all family and friends. My second campaign was like when Twitter Spaces came out and everybody was backing each other's campaign. It was like, yeah, go community. You know, like you have 50 people back your campaigns, never back again. So this feels like, all right, this is the floor. And it's a new series. So this is a floor. I feel like I can keep doing better from this. I can only go up.
No, definitely, dude. This is definitely. I mean, it's doing numbers, man. You're definitely getting up there, and yeah, it's nice to see that you got a nice little base growing, nice little core unit. But yeah,
they're also buying the real quick. They're also buying Intrusive Thoughts and Decay, the PDF. So I don't know. People are doing like they don't want like 5 isn't enough. Maybe they want to do 10, but like a lot of those are new readers, so that's good news.
Nice.
And then real quick. So I did an update because we're talking about Kickstarter. I did an update that was like, we were at like 90. Like the funny shit was, so we get closer to like 4,000, right? We're at 33,000. I'm chilling. We get to like 3,400. I'm like, oh, okay. We get to 3,700. I'm sweating, bro. Like I'm like somebody push me over, please. I'm begging you. And then so I'm at like 3,890. And for those that don't know, my mom is always my biggest supporter, but she paid for Super Bowl tickets, so she's not having none of that shit. She's like, no, you're on your own. Like, she kicked me out the nest with this one.
Damn.
I do an update, like, hey, we're really close. Maybe we'll get there by tomorrow. Dude ups his pledge by like $100, pushing me over, which is like the best feeling ever.
Damn, dude. I mean, you got a really dedicated little group going on.
For sure. What do you mean little?
Hey,
yo, shoot, whoa. What's this?
And all right, so next we got a cool campaign coming from Jason.
That's it. Let's see the best for last.
Say the best for last. We got Super Best Friends. So tell me about this campaign, Jason.
It's basically I describe it as 2 best friends. One's a superhero, one's a sidekick. And to save the world, one of them will have to delete their YouTube channel. And it's a story about Silver Age zaniness mixed with friendship, mixed with a lot of heart. It's basically a superhero I created in high school that I paired with a new original character. And this is my campaign to have a lot of fun with it. You know, we funded in in 9 hours, which is the fastest I've ever funded. You know, we are in the dead period right now. You know, and you were talking about doing an update and whatever. I had very similar. Like in the first day, I was, I think, about $100 away from funding. And I announced the same thing where I was like, "Oh man, I only need $100 to get me there," and I had a backer up their pledge as well to put me over the line. Yeah, I find Kickstarter to be a little weird this year, but I don't know whether this is going to be my best issue of Super Best Friend or not because it's tracking slower than the previous campaign, even though I'm promoting it more. So I don't know. I don't know whether that's Twitter. I don't know whether that's Kickstarter. But I'm still like really happy with where it is, and I'm very excited. And please go check it out.
No, I mean very well said. I'm really excited to get my catch up, so I can check out what's going on in this issue.
Awesome, Brad. Thanks, man.
No, it looks really cool, man. I really like that. Who's the artist on this?
For the first two issues, it's George Kamadize, and for the final issue, it's Jordi Perez. Because unfortunately, when you do independent comic books, sometimes you find artists right before they're about ready to pop, and George he's way too busy for us, and I'm glad that he's too busy for us, to be honest with you. So that's why we had to have Jordi Perez come in and pitch hit the final issue.
All right, cool. No, I mean it's definitely something that happens, right? Like you gotta keep it in mind that. I mean, shit. If you're choosing and finding the right artist, I mean, other Kickstarter people are going to come and poach. You know, I mean,
yeah. Well, also, like, I would never stand in anybody's way of getting that, you know, sweet Marvel DC paycheck. I mean, like, you know, I mean, I pay my artists well, but I don't pay them DC well. You know,
right.
So when are you changing your Twitter handle to 5-figure Jason?
5-figure Jason.
That's a running bit.
Oh, so the answer is never. Then
never.
I'll change it when I get to 6-figure Jason.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Respect.
All right. Well, speaking of 6 figs,
Yo, what's going on with Stokes' camera though? Stokes is something to a dryer, you know?
I'm too sexy for the stream.
what's going on, dude?
I don't know, bro. Hold on.
All right, and we got our boy,
Yes,
Mr.
yes,
6
yes.
figs, on a 5-figure, but a powerful 5-figure.
Thank you. Yeah, Cerulean Dreams. This is the start of something new for me. I haven't done single issues before. But, you know, I've been on Kickstarter for 7 years now, and I have developed a few different worlds, some characters that our readers love. So I wanted to do a single issue annual to start every year where we have 3 or 4, in this case 3, stories from the various worlds. Cerulean Dreams has Destiny New York, Smoke Weeds to the Future, and Afterglow, which actually returns for the first time since 2018. So we have a new character from that world, Logan from Destiny New York, and Taylor from Smoke Weeds to the Future. We have some great artists here, including Ivan Tao. That cover is absolute fire. There's a metal version as well. First time ever doing metal. We have Sadat Ozjan here with our new character Vix from Afterglow, who's going to get her own series. We have covers from Celtis right below. Oh man, I just knew it was coming, dude. Celtis right here. Beautiful.
It's like you put it together.
A little anime-inspired piece here that you can get as both the regular and the logo-free. We used to call it Virgin. Kickstarter doesn't like that, but it is what it is. And we also have, the metal Ivan cover. And
how's that metal cover doing for you, Pat?
Metal cover is close to selling out. I'm thinking about doing the second one. I'm thinking about doing if you scroll to the top right now, that Cindy Law cover, the add-on, that to me would look beautiful as a metal. So I'm thinking about that. I just like how the little glowing wisps in the background. That to me would look pretty shiny, and I do love me a holographic vibe for my Pokemon.
How many of the metal ones are you printing, Pat?
50.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've already hit 50 on the first one. Wow, that's great.
No, that's super awesome. I'm thinking about metal covers also. Do you do 50 total or 50 just specifically that tier, and you have it as add-ons and in like bundles as well?
I break it down where I have the limited number, and I
Right.
like say, for example, it's 50, and then I have the tier, and then I have the remainder that is in the tier in add-ons. But I say what the limited number is in the tier, so you know.
Right.
I will print probably like 4 more just in case of any damage, so I don't have to go back to the printer and pay a dumb amount of money in case something crazy happens. And for comps. But only 50 will be available there for sure. Yeah.
All right, very nice. No, I mean, I'm like I said, I'm thinking about it. Are they numbered also, Pat?
It's a good question. I'm thinking probably no.
Okay.
I mean, in secret, I'm gonna produce 500. Dude.
Right.
I mean, honestly, like as far as like the cost for metal, I was very careful about the number that I picked because this is something new for me, and I wouldn't want to say either too high or too low. So I looked to the experts. The same way that I started out on Kickstarter, I looked at campaigns that I see as comparable to what I want to do. And for metal, Charlie Stickney is someone who I look to in a major way. And the metal thing is just new to me. So I'm playing it safe this time. We'll see next time if I do more limited or if I even make it more available. Just gotta feel it out.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting idea to do with rewards, like just like limiting things. I've been thinking about doing metal covers. I'm thinking about like I did Kickstarter exclusive stuff that was also limited. So do you feel like you can just limit? Like, how do you feel about limiting most of your items? Do you think most items should just be like Kickstarter exclusive, maybe numbered collector's items type things? Do you ever feel like maybe you should go way deeper into that aspect of it?
I wouldn't say most because I like to think that someone can come onto the Pat Shan train in 5 years and kind of catch up. There are certain things that sell out, but I like to make sure that I have an easy way to welcome people on board. So there will be limited covers for sure. And what I'm going to start doing is, for example, on this run, those are the covers that people know about. There's also going to be convention exclusive covers that I will do a 1 week campaign. For example, I'll do a convention tour version of this book. And when the tour launches, I'll have a 1 week campaign for only that cover of this book if anyone wants to get it but can't go to the conventions.
Wow.
So that'll be a way to just make sure that everyone has everything, because I also do like for example, this was our FlameCon exclusive card, and how we do it is that we talk to the con and we like kind of peg it as promotion, but really I put it on my Etsy while we're at the con because I want to make sure everyone can have the things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want anyone to feel like they have to, because some of my work is in a numbered set. The cards are a numbered set. That is cool to collect, fun to build a binder. I wouldn't want because someone lives in California and can't come to a New York convention that they have a portion of their binder missing. So I like to think of that in the larger aspect too, so that everyone always has a chance to get whatever I offer, pretty much.
Pat's so altruistic. He's like, I want anybody to be able to give me money. I
yeah.
Respect that. I fuck with it.
Yeah, no, I just asked because it's definitely one of those ways, like if we're thinking about boosting and improving your Kickstarter, like the limited aspect of and like making people feel like they got something really special, while also putting a level of urgency, right? Like when you get closer to the end of the campaign, it's like this is your last chance to get it. This is the only place you're going to get it. There's only X amount left. It really helps with those posts to make them more get more engagement from them. At least maybe people are more likely to retweet them to get them in front of somebody's eyes that actually will end up backing. Jason, I'm curious, we're talking about limiting. How do you feel about limited stuff and Kickstarter exclusives?
I'm the wrong person to ask for this. Pat
that makes
is
you the right person.
way more. I haven't limited many things. I really haven't done many of that exclusive things. I've kind of always been the shotgun blast guy. When I've limited something, to be honest with you and to be frank, it's all been because of how much I can afford it.
Okay.
So I've been like, all right, well, this is, because I always have to play the game of, well, how much space do I have?
Yeah.
Is a big thing, and I've still very much been like, I am not getting a storage unit. Nope,
Yeah.
not happening.
Yeah,
I don't have it. Nope, I don't have it. I tend to order a little bit extra, but not too much. But also, I don't see. I'm a big believer. Like, I mean, I'm not a big believer, but like, I don't play the convention game anymore. I tried for a couple of years. I had some really bad cons. Dang. And I always found way more success with like trying to like push online or whatever. And maybe that has like cut off my customer base a little bit more, or my fan base or whatever. But I just find the stress is a lot easier. Because I've been there. I mean, I think we've all been there. Like I had like 3 cons in a row where like not a single person showed up to the table.
Really?
Oh yeah, and that is almost demoralizing to the point where you just want to quit it all.
Were you calling people over?
What's that?
Were you calling people over?
No, I don't do the carnival barker thing because, if they come by and they stop, I'll talk to them. But like, no, I admire the people at carnival bark. I don't like them. So, because we've all been there, man. My first San Diego Comic-Con I've ever been to, I had a guy we've all been there. Have you ever been to Vegas?
No.
I went when I was
this
year.
No. We're going this year, ain't we, Pat?
Okay. So, or if you go to Vegas or you walk down Hollywood Boulevard, you're going to encounter people that are going to put a CD in your hand.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
and my first
yeah.
My first response to that, I mean, it happens in New York too. My first response to that is always like, have you heard of Spotify? But they'll try to put a CD in your hand and they'll be like, you owe me $5. I'll be like, I didn't buy this. I don't want this. My first San Diego Comic-Con, a guy did that to me with his comic book. And I still to this day remember that. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, I might have looked at it. The art was great, but the fact that you shoved it in my hand and told me that I owed you $5 was the point where I was like, I am out. So like, I guess that's why I don't do the carnival barking thing or whatever. I mean, again, that's why maybe Pat is a million more times successful for me, is because I haven't figured out a way to get the limitedness to work for me in terms for like all those requirements. But I understand how it drives you. I tend to play that game with the idea of like all the covers that I offer on Kickstarter, I won't offer anywhere else.
Yeah, I mean that's
right.
That's definitely a way to limit it, though. I think there can be different, like you said, you limit it based on what you can stock, and I'll also limit it based on, for example, I offer variants from previous campaigns that I haven't printed yet, but when the print number is locked in, I'll put that in the vault for a long time because I feel like people have had their chance, so yeah. I'll dig things back up that people didn't really bite on sometimes. But no, the storage thing is real,
yeah. What's your average print number? Can I ask? And you reveal as much as you feel comfortable with. Yeah. But like, say on like an average, you're fulfilling. Let's say you had 500 backers. Like you're printing 500 copies for them. How much above that do you usually print? And on average,
if I had 5, I would do 2K probably.
Okay, interesting. Okay,
if it was for number 1, I would probably go to 3K. And then if it was for a standalone, I would do 2K.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, and that's because too, and that changes with different situations. Like for example, Prison Witch 3 was the one that I printed this month, right? And for that, I had to look at the backers, and I had to ask myself, all right, how many people have already got the series 1 and 2 who didn't do this Kickstarter, and I'll print for those. And then how many people will want to just get the whole set? So I'll have to match the print number that I have left for volume 2. And just doing that equation is how I kind of figure things out. So for Prison Witch, the answer is I have maybe 400 backers who got volume 3, and I would go more like 800 because my volume 2 stock wouldn't match that. And when 1, 2, and 3 are gone, I'll do an omnibus and just start over again.
Yeah. Interesting.
No,
I want to circle back to the whole con thing though, real quick.
Yeah.
Because God damn. For me personally, all I do is if we make eye contact, that's when I'll be like, "Do you like comics?" So it's just for me, it's a lot more of a casual thing. I agree. I'm not yelling at anybody. I don't have the voice to yell at somebody for 3 days, but that's just something that I do. Just like if they don't make eye contact, then I don't say anything.
Yeah, so building off that, so when I do cons with me and my boys, we actually go even further than that, and we actually get really close to the like putting it in your hand and say you owe us $5, but we'll put it in your hand, show you the art, and just like flip through it, right? We call it Italian waitering. It's like bringing the bottle of wine to the table and letting them sip it before they buy it. And you can really like start to push numbers and get a lot of people engaged, because I mean, it's not, you're not telling them to buy it, but if your work, like, if I go up to somebody, I put this in their hands and we flip through, like they're more
Like
likely
mid.
they're more like, yo, that is gas just from the art itself. That's crazy. They probably made 5 figures on Kickstarter.
They're like, oh, I got a headache now.
Yeah, because
I
this
need
shit
to
is
have
too
them.
crazy. That shit is wild.
Hey, I didn't mean an insult. I'm just saying the past experience, guys.
No,
like I'm just saying.
No,
We're just making conversation.
Yeah,
but,
Yeah. I just again for my model, I found that cons don't work for me.
Nah, totally understandable. But also,
Yeah.
I do think like if we can, I mean, like ideally you could sell. Like my thing is, I want to be able to sell anywhere. Like I'd like to be able to sell direct market at a con, a Kickstarter, like personal website or whatever. So I think just communicating like that, I did, because like yeah, I agree with you. Nobody likes the super aggressive person trying to sell them something, and that's wild. Like to like put something in your yeah, and then be like, yo, you owe me bread. Like nah, you're wilding out. But if not for you, I think other people can kind of like understand like, hey, this is a way to go, to go about this that gets good results for me at least, and Chris.
I think too, it as far as reaching out and finding a way to draw people in, I think it matters to be cognizant of what's going on around you too. Like I have been around a booth where someone is looking at me, I'm looking at them, and I can see that they're magnetically drawn to the table, and someone next to me goes, "Hey," and just like swoops in. And I think that if you are the person who is going to be reaching out and calling people over, just be cognizant that you have people around you who are also selling and have different methods of doing so.
For sure. But in a space where as a writer, you're like competing not just against the other writers, but like the other artists more specifically who don't need to get up from their table. Like as a writer, you have to do that, or you'll have cons where nobody's going to come to your table, because you're competing with people that have like that their art just speaks for itself, and they fan art and whatever, and they'll just sit at their table, head down, drawing something else, not even paying attention.
It's true.
And you'll see that, and they're always there, and this is their job, this is their 9 to 5, and they don't have to get up and talk to them. But like me specifically, I have to get up there, and then like otherwise I'm not going to get nearly enough people to pull up to.
Looks so bad, you got to work extra hard for that bitch. You got to.
No, I mean, I'm trying to push books. You know what I'm saying? Like I want people to buy my shit.
I like it when I'm surrounded by, like, I'm on an island with just people on their phones. Like I'm like, oh, this is a lick for real. Like I don't want to. Like, I get it. It's a 3-day. I get it, because I'd be tired. I was tired at Baltimore though. I was dead. Fucking around.
Oh yeah, by the end, man. Yeah,
that was cooked, yo.
Yeah,
but
that strategy's not good for one person either. It's like you need 2 people.
Yeah. I'd be dolo at the cons. It's all good though. But no friends. Like when it's just people like that, it's like, oh man, I'm gonna get so much table traffic because people are on their phones. And then when even when you have, I think Richard pointed this out to me, is that people like, you think that the cons are popping, right? Like you might see a table popping because they have the IPs, they have the fan art, which shouldn't be allowed legally, but whatever. Like he was like, but watching, like they don't really buy that stuff, because you can get that kind of stuff anywhere. You can get fan art anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like there's another table down the row that'll have that sort of stuff. So
yeah,
I don't think they do as good as I watched somebody with that stuff, and people were just walking right by, and I was like, damn. So like, I think cons are hard for everybody except the convention itself. Like,
yeah, I mean, cons can definitely be hard. I've Jason, I've felt what you've talked about before. Like I have left the con And I remember being in my car thinking, "The fuck do I even do this for?" You know, like
Right.
I'm not going back again. And in fact, I'm gonna become a goddamn novelist tonight. You know, uh, I have felt though, you know, because to be 100% real, I developed a hatred for cons. It has been since the past year. I feel there's a new energy with conventions. I feel like people are excited to get back out there. I think that maybe, you know, I mean, for sure, if you hate cons, I relate. Do you? I think if you like dip in and see how it is now, and if it's changed for you, I would recommend, just because for me, as someone who was a certified convention hater, I feel like things have changed a little bit.
Well, that's good to hear. I don't think any of you are going to convince me to go back to it, but
Yeah,
you know, like I also didn't mean to delay to knock the conversation to there.
Oh,
Yeah,
no, it's a
I just.
conversational
I mean,
show.
it's also like, is anybody here? Is anybody else here in California? In Cali?
We're all
No.
East Coast.
Okay, because I was gonna say Cali cons are a whole different ball game too.
Yeah.
Because like, oh, there's something about California. Like I've done a bunch of cons around Los Angeles, and there is something about like there's a little bit more of the celebrity aspect to it. That they're like, oh, you know, like, well, the big dogs are here, stuff like that. Whereas like I remember doing a con in Portland. It wasn't Rose City. I think it was Wizard World Portland. And the thing I loved about that con was I kind of felt like people there, this was like 2017, would intentionally find the books they'd never heard of. And they would walk up and be like, oh, here, you know. But I've never seen anything like that happen in California.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean,
You know.
I'm trying to think. I only did one con in California that wasn't San Diego, and it was dead. In fact, it is actually it's exactly what you said. What it was it was a hotel con, and for some reason, Rob Liefeld was at a hotel con. So the convention floor was this: at the back, Rob's table, and then a few rows. And the rows were where his line was. So it was pretty much just like,
That's crazy.
It was like fans waiting to go to Rob Liefeld were standing in front of your table.
yes. But they weren't blocking anybody because there was nobody else. It was the whole convention was just there for Rob. So you had the chance to kind of like talk to someone who was there, but in reality, they're not there to be taught. They're there to keep it moving and get their, you know, Deadpool signatures. No. Yeah.
Hey, Chris, pull up Mrs. H's comment about the cold table thing. I actually had the misfortune of co-tailing with Armin at Baltimore. No, it was pretty cool. We were really respectful. There's actually somebody who had like they did the fan art thing, so they have like these pin ups of like Naruto in One Piece, and they had, you know, the science project where you had the cardboard that would kind of open out like this.
Yes,
the cardboard was coming onto our side, and I was like, okay, that's Armin's side because I got there first. But code sabling for me is just if they're engaged with the other person, you just leave it alone. Like if they make your way over to your side, that's cool. But yeah, don't vulture. I think it worked really good. I think it worked really well. Well, Armin was also barely at the table. He's also one.
Yeah, Armin is a social butterfly. He's gone around. Did he bring people back to the table though?
Not a substantial amount.
He was bringing people to my table. You know,
that's great. You oversold them. But
I'd love to ask the panel a question that's not about cons, if that's cool.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
What do you think is going to be the trend? I guess, what trends do you think are going to happen in Kickstarter the next 2 years? And especially since we've seen this new news that I don't know if you guys have seen, that the Kickstarter is like looking for a new director of comics outreach specifically. So what trends do you see are going to happen in sort of the comics Kickstarter space over the next couple of years? Any predictions?
So I want to hear Pat on this, but let's let Pat get to the end because I'm sure Pat has a lot to say about it. So my prediction is that we'll see further consolidation around this like mature reading sphere. I think after seeing Cheeky, once Steamy hits, things like Galarian, there's just countless amounts of books already that are not safe for work or mature or something like that. I think we're going to see more and more of the creators that started around the pandemic time also start to transition or add that into the repertoire. And then people that are coming back or finally making their way to Kickstarter because they've been waiting for a while, I think they're also going to see that it's a market that that Kickstarter really hits really well. Because like, can you really go to a comic book store and find all the different types of mature books that you can find on or like the different types of naughty covers that you can get? Like there's so many things.
Depends on the comic book store.
I think you can, Chris.
But you can
I don't
really
think
tailor it for Kickstarter.
I think the difference is the quality. Like
Right.
you like Charlie and Pat stuff is great. Like it's like high quality stuff. I think that's the difference. You know what I'm saying?
For sure, but it's hitting like it's hitting a market that I feel like you don't really necessarily go to comic book stores to find, right? I think Kickstarter is like, and then you can really tailor to those fans, right? Like you can give them those limited supply things that make it feel special to get the book, or maybe have it be a little bit weirder that it wouldn't make its way into a comic book store, but now like here on Kickstarter it can be. So that's just my prediction. I feel like we're going to see further consolidation around that space. Stokes, what about you? What do you feel?
I think the new kids on the block are going to flourish. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna knock some creators off their spot. You know, maybe Mr. Shan perhaps. No, I think it's going to be more bigger creators, like bigger indie creators, like you see Terry Moore on there. Like you're gonna get some more of those guys, I believe, and I think the amount of people that are just kickstarting projects, I don't think it's going away. I don't think there's ever going to be a time where it's not crowded. Like in May, I think you made such a great point about the pandemic, right? Like I think Pat and them were active during the pandemic, and it's paying off dividends, and we're like a year or two behind, right? But that's such a huge margin, you know. They're also Pat was definitely in comics, I think, before that. I think Charlie too. Yeah. But now you're gonna see like I said, more competition in May of 2022. It wasn't as much competition, but now I think you're gonna see more of that, and I think the creators are gonna have to work harder to stand out in the space on Kickstarter as well.
Or and that's also why I think mature is going to be more of a genre, because it's also I think it's a genre that or a space that has a higher ceilings and potentially even higher floors. Yeah. So we'll see creators that may have struggled during this season right now that are like, you know, like fuck this. Let me get some titties. Let me like or whatever they're thinking. That's just one way to do it. But
you know, Chris is thinking,
you know.
But there is. I'm just saying, there's creators that are like, okay, maybe this is a pivot to make, right? And then also to build on that, I also think we're going to see more famous people. You know, that trend is going to continue. Like we're going to see like an A-lister, like a mega A-lister, like a Kylie Jenner comic book or some graphic novel or something like that. And that's when Kickstarter goes from where it is now to like everyone and their goddamn mothers making a Kickstarter. And I mean, people like us and that have been doing it for a while, when that finally happens, it's gonna be crazy. But Mr. Pat Shand, I know you have a lot to say.
I do. I'm proud though, because I feel like you both hit the nail on the head. I think that we're seeing, you know, I mean, I spoke about this recently on a podcast. There was a time where Archie Comics announced Kickstarter, 3 Kickstarters for their titles, and they got some blowback saying that no, Kickstarter isn't for this, and they immediately pulled back, and that set back publishers and A-listers who want to do this years. That is over in a major way. You have Kickstarter vocally embracing these huge names, saying how much it enriches the platform. You have people who use the platform, like me, like Charlie, saying the platform is better now that they're using it. They're drawing people in. This helps us. This is a net positive for Kickstarter. We're going to see more of that. Now that it's being encouraged, and the idea of a cancellation for a publisher or a celebrity using Kickstarter, not going to happen. So they feel freer to go about it. I mean, last year alone, Vault, Black Mask, not a peep as far as negativity goes. That's great. Terry Moore right now killing it on Kickstarter. He is going to be a staple of Kickstarter. And yeah, the not safe for work stuff. That hits the collector's market in an absolutely gigantic way. It has been looked down upon in society for a long time. You know, there was a stretch of years, these puritanical years, when covers from Marvel or DC that had any element of anything but puritanical depictions of characters, right? They would go viral. That there would be a hate campaign against the artist, against the specific cover. That's changed. Now you're seeing mainstream creators, mainstream hot creators saying that no, not safe for work art is the wave. Marvel creators from the X Office recently pushed back hard against this puritanical sort of like 90s obsessed push. We're gonna see that open in a major way, and with these kind of things, there's always overcorrection, and there'll be people who don't get it. There'll be people who don't get that's, for example, Stepan Sejic's Sunstone is exceptional, not just because it's not safe for work, but because it has the same amount of character-driven storytelling and excellent dialogue that you would expect in any other artist's magnum opus that isn't not safe for work. You know, the work has to still be good, and I think that people who do poor work and who are going to introduce a not safe for work element might struggle and kind of wonder why it doesn't work for them, because people do think it's a crutch, and it's not. You have to do it very well, and we're going to see more and more people doing it for sure. Hopefully we'll see more high-level creators doing it. I know Patrick Kinlan, he just did the first Black Mass Kickstarter, Don't Avert Your Eyes, and he is really into the idea of doing more erotica, and feels that there's a space for it now when there wasn't before, and I 100% agree.
You mean it's not crutch per se, but you think it raised the floor a bit, don't you think?
Yes, the first time. If you keep putting out subpar content, or I mean, if it looks like fucking I drew it, no, you know, like it can't just be erotica, you know, like,
yeah,
it has to at some level be collectible for sure.
Right. I also don't think it needs to be full out like erotica, just like that mature. Like, there's a reason why everybody watches HBO, right? Like,
yes,
it's and that doesn't make, you know, Game of Thrones porn, but it's mature,
close.
Right? Yeah, I mean,
It's pretty close.
Okay, maybe House of Dragons is like a better like
yeah, way
or,
good.
but you
better
you
call
know,
it, yeah.
Dub co-host, yeah.
Right. But Jason, asking you the same question, where do you think it's going? Where would you what are you theorizing on?
I mean, I think you're all correct. It's interesting. The more mature, I mean, it's a trend I've noticed as well. It's also interesting because like that's something that I personally as a creator have to grapple with, because like that is a type of storytelling, not the mature label, but like I just don't have the erotica or like more mature like story in my head for that.
Yeah.
So like my only way to do it would have to be like more mature, and that's, you know, that's something for me to deal with. That's fine. I think we're gonna see more of the major publishers, like Pat was talking, because I do remember that Archie, and I backed that Archie comic book because I remember thinking that I was like, oh, this is a perfect way for the major publishers to publish a series that they don't think will work in the direct market. Yeah. You know, that they don't. I was like, this is perfect. Or the weirder choices. Like, this would be a perfect way. Because like the day I launched, it was either the day I launched or a week after this year, Boom Comics did an Expanse miniseries on Kickstarter. And if there was any show, how, you know, usually you go to Kickstarter because you're like, originally the idea was, you know, you're unsure if this could be supported somewhere else. So you go to Kickstarter, you make a direct plea to your fans to kind of come in. And The Expanse was a major television show. It's a world best-selling novel series. And the fact that they were like, let's go to Kickstarter with that.
Yeah.
And it's doing very well. It's doing hugely well. Like, I think we'll see the IDW series. I think we'll see the Dark Horse series. I mean, and I think we'll eventually see the DC or the Marvel series on Kickstarter. I wonder who it will be first, and I wonder what project it'll be. Because again, if somebody like Brandon Sanderson can like legitimize, and not saying it wasn't legitimate before, but if somebody like Brandon Sanderson or The Expanse feels comfortable coming this way, and also Berserker, I forgot about Berserker, the Keanu Reeves book was also a Kickstarter.
Oh yeah.
And you would think that if John Wick, like you'd think like John Wick putting that book in the direct market, you'd be like, oh, John Wick can fund that book easy, but they still went to Kickstarter with it.
Well, it's this great thing that's like it's like sort of a promotional platform and a store at the same time. So like, why wouldn't you go to? Why wouldn't you go to Kickstarter?
It's sort of a plus for Kickstarter, at the same time that it's a negative for the direct market. That the idea that they were like, oh, we don't need the direct market, and we can all we have to do is take the hit on the Kickstarter fees, which would be what it would be normally if they use Stripe or whatever on their own website, right? So like they were like, oh, that hit's not too much. Let's go over here and do it. Or in like, when you think about like bigger companies like Boom Studios, right? It's all the bottom line is where they go from. And they were like, oh, well, the bottom line is that this book will make money on Kickstarter.
I think it's interesting. It's kind of like when you see a movie that like a Netflix will pick up, or like a studio will pick up, a streaming service will pick up. That's like, okay, this might not do the best in the direct market. Like as far as movies, that's the direct market, but this might have a life. This might have a life on streaming services.
There's another comic books company that's been using Kickstarter this way for several years now, and that also has a Kickstarter campaign live right now. It's Top Cow.
Yeah,
and how they've been doing all their reprints, or I think they have. Is the Witchblade campaigns on now? Is that a compendium?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, to be honest with you, I have said for years, and I said this even when I worked at DC, that I was like, why don't we all have a like spot on DCComics.com and let's collect the old Mark Waid Impulse run, all 40 issues of it, into a compendium, put it on the website, say that we need to pre-order 5,000 copies, and we don't print it unless it sells the pre-order. Because you have all these issues, it's a storyline that people like, and then it's a way to like monetize your back catalog, and that's something that Top Cow is doing. Like so I think like DC or Marvel pulling off something like that, I think is very much in the realm of possibility, or like a very real reality in maybe the next 4 or 5 years.
And I can hear the people being like, "Oh, this is for indie creators. This is listen.
Yeah.
If there was only Anthony Stokeses and Chris Moses on Kickstarter, there would be no fucking Kickstarter. Let's be honest. Like fucking Keanu Reeves coming into the platform is amazing. Like it's great. You want as many people backing campaigns as possible. So I just it's just so people put all these barriers up on comic books, and it's really frustrating when it's like, yo, this motherfucker is like, you're on the same platform as Keanu Reeves. Like, do you think about that? Like that's fucking amazing. Like that's Keanu Reeves, Wesley Snipes. If it's a DC book, you're on the same platform as a DC book. Like, yeah, that's incredible.
It should be. It should be seen as incredible. There are some creators who just can't get out of the headspace of, this is where I go when people say no to me, and that's such a. It's the wrong way to look at it, And I mean, I was having a conversation about this, and I saw, someone who disagreed with me about that. That Kickstarter should just be for indie creators who can't do it without Kickstarter. I saw it in a thread talking to someone else saying, "Oh yeah, I tried to explain to him, but he doesn't get it." But like,
yo, who said that? Tag me. To tag me.
And I feel like we're gonna see time and time again it proven that these are good things for Kickstarter. The publishers coming, good thing. Big names coming, good thing. It boosts the algorithm. Our campaigns appear under their updates. Yeah. How is that not a great thing? I would rather see Cerulean Dreams under a Terry Moore update than I would see it as if Newsarama had every article about me for a day.
Yeah. How do you?
Well,
How do
because
we?
that would get you more clicks than everything that Newsarama did. Yeah.
True. Yeah. Same
Yeah.
with all these sites. You know, I mean, I've pushed to get CBR coverage, Newsarama, Bleeding Cool, but appearing on, I mean, these Kickstarter updates and the algorithm, it markets the people who are already buying on the platform. It's just so much better, you know. And I think that the more big names we have to appear under and to be boosted by, the better.
Definitely. I also feel like we all I think we all just have like specific fans too that are like very dedicated and will go to those different people. And so like people, the biggest creators have a bunch of those people that are like diligently reading those updates and will see those and like have money to hop onto other campaigns. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely number one to have all these like all these big creators come aboard.
Well, it's also the interesting thing. Like, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off,
No,
Chris. It's a thing that I always say, like in every interview. The one thing I like about Kickstarter, and it's the one I'm still the crazy person that fulfills my campaign. Pat, do you still do, or do you hire other people to do it still? Because you've gotten some big campaigns, my friend.
I've done it up until now. What I'm gonna do is I'm still gonna run the ship, but I am gonna have my team packing downstairs and bringing me the packages to then deal with the customers, label, print, and all that stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So that's fair. So like they'll pack it all, and then you'll be like the last like quality control, which I totally understand because there is a certain number. I think once you cross a certain number of backers, like you just can't do it anymore. But that's the thing. The thing I like about like, and I actually learned this from Jimmy Palmiotti when I was first starting Kickstarter. That I asked him like advice and stuff like that, and I mean, he has a whole company of people.
Yeah.
But they still pack all their books, even though they have thousands of backers. And this is something I stole from him. He talks about, he was like, I recognize the names. And when I recognize the names from previous campaigns, he's like, I write them notes. So I do the same thing. Like I always buy a like just silly, goofy, again, this is why I talk about doing fun for Kickstarters. The whole reason I do it. I buy like a goofy trading card set on eBay, like Star Trek or Amalgam or DC, whatever. Yeah. And if I recognize your name or I recognize you from a previous campaign, I throw you one of those trading cards and then I write a note on a Post-it note for you.
Yeah.
And then I sign it, like, you know, and that's an ability like you have like to really like to like let the fan be like, oh, this person actually touched my book, like literally touched my book.
Definitely. Yeah. I have a bunch of people that I like recognize. I'll write them notes and all that kind of shit. So 100%. That's just, it's so nice. Such a nice feeling when you see, like, I'm sure for Pat, like you've seen people for like what 15 campaigns. You're probably like brought to tears.
I mean, that's exactly what I was gonna say too. Is that it's one of the coolest parts. Like I hear people want to, you know, push the entire fulfillment off, and like I get it. It's arduous, you know, but
it's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot.
My back physically hurts by the time it's all done, you know. But there's nothing like seeing a name that has been there from the very start and is there every time. Seeing them in person at conventions too, when they reveal who they are. No, yeah, I mean, there are multiple names. I mean, I was just prepping because with Cheeky, I sorted all the tiers because I have the add-on. I mean, I have like 50 add-ons, so I have multiple different package tiers, and I was sorting them, and I was looking at names, and I was like, man, you've been here since day one, and I don't even know if you're into like erotica, but you're rocking with me on this, which is so different from Destiny Earth Volume 1. And they've just been there at every corner, and there's a lot of them. And building that community of stalwart readers is incredible. It's great.
100%. And it's definitely, I mean, back to the topic of this live, it's a great way to boost your Kickstarter because they'll come back, right? Like if you have something that like backer kit launch, you can check out the people that come back for your campaign. Your returning backers, and that's like a
backer kit launch, by the way, is I've found to be a game changer. And I think it launched like right before I did Super Best Friend issue 1 in like 2021. Like it like opened up like about a month, and I didn't even know what the hell it was, and I was just like, well, I'll try this because it's only $100, but it's the ability that it has the ability to track and then who hasn't donated to your campaign, so you can like specifically only focus on those people, so the people that have don't just get inundated with messages is very interesting. It's also like BackerKit like starting your own crowdfunding site, like they don't have the infrastructure yet to, I think, to compete with Kickstarter, but like they could get there. They could get there, and like it's what they're one of the ones that I'm like, oh, you could actually be a serious competitor. And at the other side, right, like, and I think Pat, I've seen you talk about this too, where it's like the idea of like the fact that BackerKit like stepped in and filled in that hole of campaign fulfillment. And like how to track it all and how to make it very easy. Like it's the same message back to Kickstarter where you're just like, hey, everybody's going to BackerKit to do these surveys because like you need to step up your game, Kickstarter.
You're muted, Pat.
There we go. My favorite thing about all that stuff, about the competitors, about BackerKit doing the surveys, is that I want it to push Kickstarter to get better. Like that's the best.
Yeah.
That's great. And I think that, to me, BackerKit launch is amazing. I haven't connected personally to BackerKit itself, the actual survey tool. And I don't think it's super fair that they do it on a percentage based.
I agree.
Yeah. Their workload stays the same.
No matter how big your campaign is. Yeah.
A 1K campaign or a 100K campaign, it's gonna, and what they get paid for. I mean, I'll be real. I brought Cheeky to them, and I was gonna try it. And
you mean their crowdfunding service? You were gonna try that?
No, they're a pledge manager.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, and I was stunned by how little they helped me. I was asking for help, even understanding the platform and what to do, and they would fire off an email like I was bothering them, and I'm like, you are gonna stack chips off of this. What are you doing? Like, help me, bro. And they didn't, and I was like, all right, well, now I need help asking if I can reverse my contract here, because I'm not doing it, and so I pulled out. And yeah, but so that's I have frustrations there, but their launch system is perfect. I love how that works for sure. And
yeah, I agree with you. Their customer service leaves something to be desired, and their system is a steep learning curve. I mean, every campaign I've done with them so far, I fully admit, I have a day where I spend 8 hours just building the survey. It's literally, it's an entire day. And it is a day of me like hitting the desk and being like, oh my God. But like, I do it every time because they do a really good job of offering up the add-ons to the people that are going through the survey, and I've had success with that every single. It's like, so that's it's the lesser of two evils, where I'm like, they do a really good job of making all the backers see add-ons and be like, oh, I do want that print, I do want that sticker, I do, even though they've already done Kickstarter add-ons and all that other stuff, So yeah, it's like a lesser. You're between a rock and a hard place. You're like, I have to deal with this very complex system that's going to be utterly frustrating. But at the same time, like, you're gonna get like a little bit more of a bonus. So it's like you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. So Mrs. H asked a question, a little bit of a pivot. What printers do you guys use? So I have been using Comics Impressions recently and have been enjoying. They do good work. They do good work, and nothing to complain about. Stokes, who do you use?
Anybody but Mix'em. No, I use Comics Wellspring.
Have you used Mix'em?
Yes.
Yeah.
Fuck them. Like anything that's not comics, they're brilliant. But like you give them a comic book and they'll. Nah.
What did they print well? I'm curious.
Postcard. They got a postcard right here.
Okay.
Truth of Thoughts host card right there.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no. They fucked this one up. No, they actually fucked these up. So I don't know what's gonna go up. You can see there's like a strip right here. You can see like they kind of like clip the bottom and the top. You can see the color difference.
Yeah.
Like so you can see this little bar at the very top. Somehow they clipped it wrong. And then
Cut it wrong?
they cut it wrong. I'm like, yo, this is the easiest thing in the world. I don't know how you messed that up. And then like they'll like tell you to fuck yourself in the most polite way, depending on what it is. Like, so the customer service gets a 10, but like the actual product, because they're not a combo company, like they do general printing, unlike Comics World Spring. I reviewed Mix'em and they were like, hey, I'm sorry you feel this way. It's like, nah, bro. Fuck out of here. Your man's told me they couldn't do anything for me. Like, get out of here. So I mean, I already did one. Like, they didn't like it, but I use Comics World Spring. I like the discounts. They're pretty good. Price is reasonable.
Shand, who do you use?
For trades, I have used Print Lore. I'm always looking for better deals too. So I'm on the hunt. For the first single I'm doing, I am doing comic impressions, just like Five Figure Chris. I'm gonna be doing that.
5 eggs.
And
Stop validating this motherfucker, please.
yeah, I like some of their glossy front covers. And Charlie printed Galarian #2 with a different printer, and I couldn't believe how it smelled. It smelled real good. It smelled like a goddamn library, and I am thinking about doing books with them as well, just based on the, it's matte, but it's really cardstock, but not too. It's just perfect. It's very.
Can you say who it is?
Yeah, are you gatekeeping the name?
No, I don't remember the name.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
Just old guard, thanks.
I'm sure Charlie would recommend them. So everyone write Charlie Stickney to his personal email, okay, and tell him that I sent you.
Yo, shouts out to Charlie. We're gonna have him on the show. I think I really want to have him on when my campaign is active because I need that update. I need an update so bad, bro.
Yeah, hopefully next week then.
We gotta take care of something out in Arizona first. You know what I'm saying? Then we can circle back.
I saw your strategy with Charlie too. You asked Charlie for the update while live in the space.
Yeah. My poster don't supposed to wait, so you can be like, "Oh, I got you on the wait list." Like, nah, bro, come on, I'm your twin. Like, let's get it done. Jason, who do you use?
I've done comic impressions too because I mean, all my previous campaigns before that were graphic novels, and one of them were through a publisher, so I didn't have to worry about the printer. And then the other one was we printed in Canada. So, but it was also like I was collaborating with somebody, so I didn't have to worry about it. I didn't have to worry about printing my own book. I just had to worry about fulfilling. I didn't have to worry about printing my own book until Super Best Friend, which I was very lucky that the first 3 campaigns I didn't have to worry about the printer. I just had to worry about actually fulfilling the campaign.
Right.
So I mean, I find they're great. They're really nice. The books look great. You sometimes have to like email them and get on them. But they've always been very nice and they've always responded really well. So I really like them. But I would love, again, it's just like the same thing we were talking about with Kickstarter and other stuff. Like, if there's another competitor in the game that's as good as them, it's like, hey, let's up the, because I do kind of feel like the last couple, and it's probably because of Charlie, and Comic Uno as well, that like I feel like we've all gone to comic impressions.
Yeah.
Because I've heard bad things about Mixim as well, because I think Carl Kessel did one of the Impossible Jones with Mixim. Am I saying that right? Mixim, whatever you say it.
Yeah.
And I remember him complaining as well that there was one of the Impossible Jones, I want to say it's like 2 that like he printed with them, and it took them forever to print them. And then once he finally got them, they were misprinted. They had like the pages were all out of order, stuff like that. So he had to also fight them to get them to reprint it.
Always a nightmare. Always
Yeah.
a nightmare.
Yeah, and I think he now does Impossible Jones through Comic Impressions now too.
It looks great. That book looks
Yeah.
great too.
Yeah.
With Mixum, I use them for like my first 3 campaigns, and every single campaign we had a problem with the printing. Either it was late or something was fucked up and I had to get it reprinted. And it was never a problem to get it reprinted, but it happened every single time. And it's one of the reasons why we're only on 5 campaigns instead of like 7 or 8, because it delayed me every single time. So yeah, I'm definitely not a Mixum fan, but I'm not as much of a hater as Stokes. Stokes is on a warpath when it comes to them. Even though he's stepped out for whatever reason, to do whatever the Luigi's do on their when they're AFK from their stream. But I think this is a good conversation, especially like because when you're talking about improving your Kickstarter, you can improve your margins. Offer less, offer things at more, or you could do cool cover things like Pat Shand with metal covers. Comic Impressions is really awesome because you can do shorter runs on books, and it be more cost beneficial for you, right? Whereas some places you have to order thousands of books for it to make sense price wise to offer a book at like $5, $6, $7, $8, right? Even though it seems that pricing has changed. So I guess that's an interesting topic. How do you guys feel about comic pricing and Kickstarter pricing? How do you price your books? Do you do market research? Do you try and keep it low so that more people can back, or do you juice it up a little bit because it's Kickstarter and people pay a little bit more and help out on a product, or what's your strategy? How are you figuring out where you're pricing your books and your variants and your different items? Oh, Luigi's back. We were just talking shit about you the whole time.
What would you possibly say?
We're just, there's nothing that can be said that we all don't already know and everybody watching.
I'll just making shit up. A lot of that going around.
Yeah, we were talking smack. All truth, all facts. But I was just asking Jason and Pat how they price their stuff and what's going through their head and stuff like that. So I wish every one of you guys wants to hop in and answer that.
Feel free, Pat. I think you're going to have a way better answer than I will.
It is market research. I look at what is working, and I look at what it costs me to make the book, and I balance that out. I would have never thought that we'd be in an area where single issues are doable because of, the comic shop price is $4 or $5, and if we sell Kickstarter single issues at that, it's not going to work. I like to keep a lower, compared to other Kickstarters, a lower entry level with early bird tiers and such. And I'll price a single issue of 28 or more pages at 12 to 15 for the base, and then for variants I'll go up from there. For trades, which I'll do as black and white trades usually, I used to start at 20. Now I'm thinking I'll start at 25, because I was doing, I would kickstart a 60-page book, and with stretch goals and interstitials, it would end up being a 75 and up page book I was doing for $20. Now I'll probably do 25 for those, and if we go over 100, do 30. Hardcover probably 35 to 40, and from there, merch is just kind of getting into the weeds if we do merch too. Because it's just so many items and so many different price points. But yeah, that's my scale for singles to trades to hardcovers.
So when it comes to merch, just as like on a more general level, do you like look for like mark it up 100%? Are you looking for, or like how do you just like generally sort of find the price points?
I can mark it up less if I look back and see a similar item working for me in mass in the past. Trading cards, people want them. A bookmark and a print, people want a bit less sometimes, So I've tried to mitigate that by doing smaller prints as postcards and calling them art cards. Just figuring out ways to activate things because people are so used to the idea of opening a Kickstarter package and 20 prints fall out. They're like, what the fuck am I going to do with all these? So I've also been able to increase the price by not doing so many items. I'll limit the items that I do and deliver a focused campaign, and then I'll charge a bit more for the item because it's the one version of that. Yeah.
All right. I mean, amazing information from Mr. Pat Shand.
I think so.
I know. I mean, it is. You actually charge people for this information with your business if you want to plug that.
Oh, yes. I have a business. The website's launching soon. It is called What's Wrong With Your Kickstarter. I have a couple of different tiers and basically everything except the base tier. The base tier is a single email assessment of a campaign draft. I'll give you everything in one draft. Every other tier, I at least go back and forth for the length of the campaign. And it goes all the way up until building campaigns and coordinating with backers throughout. I think that it's fun for me to do. I love to see campaigns that I've helped out on doing well. I am excited to try different things too on campaigns. As a creator, I have my ideas and certain elements that I bring, and I like to look at other campaigns and sort of understand where the creator's coming from and how to help them with what I've learned in my area, do what they're doing, but just in the most successful possible way. I've given art suggestions before, I've given art connections before, but people like what they like. Some other people that I help are already their own artists, so they're kind of set in their style. So yeah, I'm open to everybody and every kind of project on Kickstarter, and I'm open to Zoops too. My first advice on a Zoop is do a Kickstarter. But
yeah. I will also give him a mad shout out because Pat helped on Super Best Friend 1 and 3. When he first announced this on Twitter, I immediately emailed him.
Yes, and thank you for being one of the day ones. You're awesome for that. Thank you for believing in me in that way. I believe in your campaign as well. I'm glad to see you doing great. I think it's a great campaign.
See, my biggest problem is that Pat gives me so many good pieces of advice, but then my day job comes out of nowhere and I can't activate half of them.
Well, I mean, what I hope is this too. I think that obviously you're a creator who has used Kickstarter before. When I'm answering these questions for you, I try to do it in a way where it's helpful for what you're doing now, but I'm giving you everything I got on that topic.
Yeah, no, it's great. It is like there's so many great ideas. Like I have been saving all of them because I've been like, oh, I can use that in a future one. I can use that in a future one. But like I can also tell you that like I just did his bottom or his middle, I think is what I did. I did his middle. And tier, and I will tell you that like if I can afford it going forward, I will be like, hey Pat, do the whole rigmarole. Let's go if you have the time. Like that's how much I will recommend it to everybody out there. Primarily because I want Pat to hit his 100,000 Kickstarter, but also I want Pat's Kickstarter business to be so successful that he's gonna have to like hire other employees because it's going crazy.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, I really do appreciate it. And
is that an editor in the comments? Ew.
What am I trying to say here? I believe in Kickstarter. I believe that creators can flourish here, and I love to do this. I didn't have to do this business. I had the idea, and I was like, I really want to do this, and I want to help grow Kickstarter and see these campaigns do really well. And I also, before I mentioned how I had questions for Backer Kid, and they were pretty much just fired off like a quick, the quickest possible intern response. And my philosophy is do the opposite of that. Jason, that from the questions that you've asked, I will make sure that I'll give you a goddamn essay, no matter what.
Oh yeah,
I want to I want to give you everything in every possible way, you know?
No, that's why I'm saying, like, Pat's services, anybody that's watching this right now, if you are thinking about running a Kickstarter, if you've done multiple Kickstarters, and you are looking for, like, Pat is what we call, like, what I've called, I've worked with a lot of these guys in TV. Pat is what they call the pitch hitter. And that is a guy that, like, you bring into a writer's room to just be like, all right, I need 10 bonkers ideas, go. And, like, you get those ideas, and then you're like, I like number 5 and 6. I think 5 and 6 are going to work. But, like, actually, all of these ideas are going to work. So we're going to put these over on the note cards for the side, but we're going to do 5 and 6. That's how good, like, and that's what you want in your pocket for a Kickstarter. So again, everybody watching this, if you've never done a Kickstarter campaign, one of the best uses of your money would be to hire Pat.
I appreciate you. Thank you, man.
100%. And Jason, if you have anything that you wanted to add on pricing,
well, Pat nailed it. I was very scared because my first 3 Kickstarters were graphic novels too. They were complete, like, 120 page one and dones, and there was a while in Kickstarter where that seemed to be like that's what everybody wanted. And I mean, I give a lot of mad credit. I think it's Charlie Stickney that, like, really, like, was like, I'm gonna try the single issue model and go for it. You know, and one of the things that I took from him, and I agree, is you know, that's why I do an oversized issue. That's why my single issue is 48 pages. Because, you know, my price point is 20 for the Bane cover, and then I think Early Bird is like 18. Part of that is because, you know, I think most people that come to Kickstarter understand that you're not just buying the book straight up wholesale. You are supporting the whole thing. Like, the creator is upping the price a bit because, you know, we're not going to print 10,000 of these and get a price break like, you know, DC or Marvel. We're going to print like 1,000 or 2,000. So the prices are a little bit more or comparable. But also, like, I always do it usually for all my books is usually, like, for Super Best Friend 1 and 2, the price was inflated to 20 because I used money from 1 to pay for 2. I used money from 2 to pay for 3. I used money from 3. You know, like, it's like you're rolling it down the line to your, like, next project or your next thing. And I hope readers judge that. But, like, no, I think now, especially with inflation, and I think especially with, like, postage going up and like that, I think 25 is very fair for a trade. I think 30 is very fair for a trade. I think I set my price point looking at Charlie, and then also I looked at David Papose's campaign for the OZ. And they were the first ones, because I was doing all the numbers for single issues, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make 15 work. I don't know, just like budget-wise. And when I saw both of them have theirs at like 18 or 20, I was like, okay, I can make 18 or 20 work for my budget. And it seems like people are going for it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would love to get to a place where I could afford to do a 15, even a 10. But I think that's a little bit outside of the reach. I think you have to maybe be a Brian Pulido. I have to be, like, up there, you know, to where you could take that big of a hit. But I don't know. I think $20 for, I would say, 35 pages or up, I think is a very fair price.
I think so too.
Stokes, you have anything to add on pricing? No, he does not.
That's his answer.
The answer is absolutely not. So, Mr. Patchan, I know you are about to have to leave. So, if you want any final words on your campaign, and then Jason will get to you. Now is,
and I might have to leave at that same time as well.
Yeah, we will be wrapping, so don't worry.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So, Mr. Patchan, Cerulean Dreams, last words.
Yeah, Cerulean Dreams. Come get it. We have 3 stories in there. Destiny New York, Smoke We See the Future, Afterglow. The cool thing is the stories stand alone. So if you want to start here, or if you want to just read this too, come on. Wow, the number just fell. Do you see that? we were at,
Oh, really? I didn't
Yeah.
see it.
yeah, we were at 19.6, and that's one of the things about sending an update during the dead weeks is that it serves as a reminder to people. Oh yeah, I'm in trouble right now. You know.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple of those.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, if you want to jump on and read these stories, they're all standalone. They will all introduce you to the characters and the world. Or if you are a longtime reader, these stories fit seamlessly into what you've already read, and you'll enjoy them as standalone experiences that tell you a bit more about the characters. And we have some beautiful art, gorgeous covers, and I am excited to, starting now, begin every year with a book like this.
I think we're all excited, Pat. This is some awesome stuff. The book looks dope. I'm really excited for my issue, and that Ivan cover is insane. I'm gonna need to hook up, see if I could maybe get him on a TSC or a Control Z cover or something.
Gotta do it. He's there.
Yeah, hook it up.
Yeah.
Jason, final
Yes.
words on Super Best Friends.
Super Best Friend is the superhero comic book that DC Comics is too afraid to publish, because this is about a superhero and a sidekick saying, "I love you, man. I love you, brother," in the big climax, because I think it's important for males to say they love each other, especially if they're important figures in your life. And I've never heard Superman say that to Jimmy Olsen, so damn it, I wrote the comic book that did it. Come on over. I got 13 more days. I have some fun art drops. Hold on a second. I have to go off camera. Give me 1 minute, guys. Whoa. I got all these artists that I love to do random pieces of art. This is going up tomorrow at 12 Pacific Standard Time. This is Dan Jurgens, the man who did Death of Superman. And this is on a comic book board. And he did my main superhero, Captain Terrific. So this is going to randomly drop tomorrow. And the only way you're going to know is if you're a backer. So come on over, be a backer, superbestfriendcomic.com.
Awesome. No, this looks super sick. I also have a copy of this on the way, and I'm very excited for it, my friend.
Thank you.
And Stokes, Mr. Luigi, tell us about Mid-Trucive Thoughts.
Wow, dude.
Yo, if you read Control Z and you want to wash your palate, this is really good. Yeah, this is that shit you need. You know what I'm saying? Get rid of that headache from that MIDI pack, and this is it.
No, this shit is sick, dude. This is gonna be your best campaign. And congrats on funding, my dude. Congrats to all of you guys for funding, overfunding. This is Kickstarter. This is a good year on Kickstarter. A good start. It's definitely competitive. It's definitely a lot of people on it, but I think it's a good start, a strong start, and the next decade, this next coming decade, is going to be really awesome. So I appreciate all of you guys joining Stokes and I on this Thursday night, and I'll let you guys get to your next engagements. Super comic book fans, make sure to hit that like button, make sure to subscribe, make sure to follow, and back everybody's campaigns. Make sure to pledge, and we'll see you on the next one.
Yes.